Hi, my name's Mandy and welcome to my Friday Sews, a concept developed by Jen from Jen's Sewing Room. So today I thought I would pop on and review this pattern, McCall's 9072. It's a jersey top and I made view B. Now I've made two of these tops and this is the first one I made, which was a real big flopper. So first of all, I chose the wrong colours, and secondly the wrong size, and thirdly the wrong type of jersey. So let's start with the fabric. I purchased this fabric from Stitchy Bee, which is an online shop in the UK. Now in the jersey she has this perfect jersey range, and I've made a couple of tops out of this range before. If you remember, I made the Brasov top last year in this black perfect jersey, and I also made a Freya top which I showed last Christmas in the pale pink perfect jersey, and it's a lovely jersey, and I can see why she calls it perfect jersey because it really holds its shape. However, this top needs more drape in my opinion. So I purchased this white jersey with the idea of making either an Astoria top by Seamwork, or I was looking for a t-shirt pattern for summer. However, I had this pattern in my stash for quite some time now, and I decided I would like to have a go and have something completely different, and I was going to make this like I say, view B. It is a good pattern. There's plenty of scope there, dresses, there's two different lengths of dress, there's 4 different types of sleeves. There's short, there's 3/4, there's long, or there's none. So yeah, quite a bit of versatility there. What I didn't realise is I thought that this band here was a band. I didn't realise it was actually an insert. And when I've looked at pattern reviews, some people actually refer to them as a dicky. But I didn't realise that. I just thought it was a V-neck top with the banding what sort of went across. I didn't realise it was a separate insert. So horror of horrors, I cut the pattern out and then realised I needed this insert, and I hadn't got enough of the white fabric. So I had still got some of the black perfect jersey, and I thought, well, because it's the same construction, what I will do is use this as the contrast, which was mistake number 2, because that looks just awful. I didn't have enough of the black jersey the way they'd got it laid out on the pattern, but a few people had said that they cut it on the, I think it's the cross grain or length of grain, so that's what I did with that. And I'll show you that insert in a moment. I mean, in a way it's good for you that I made this big flop, because you're going to see this in far more detail. So I'm just going to pop some of my glasses on, so I've made lots. So I'm just going to go through the pattern first of all. It does say on the pattern that it's easy. I disagree with that. I think this is for a moderate sewer. I wouldn't say, well, it might be easy for a moderate sewer, but for a beginner it's a no-no. I think you need to have some experience at sewing before you attempt to construct this. Now this is a Palmer Pletch pattern, and for those of you who know Palmer Pletch, they're well known for their method of tissue fitting, and they also have a book out, and they did a second edition of this, Fit for Real People. So I think you need 2 people really to help to tissue fit. So basically you put the tissue pattern against you and you pin it on, and you can make your alterations. So that's why I think you need 2 people. The good thing is about this, you get this 2 pages full of how to tissue fit this pattern, this particular pattern. It's see if I can bring a little bit up to show you. Yeah. It is really detailed, telling you where to cut and where to stick. It's also got the addition of darts in this pattern, so if you want to put darts in, bus darts, then you can do, and there's directions and instructions and lines on the pattern for that. There's lots of instructions on how to do a full bust adjustment and also sway back, along with obviously the lengthening and shortening. So yeah, the instructions, you cannot fault them really. And as you go through this pattern, it tells you to sew the wrong sides together, and that's when you fit the pattern to the actual garment to you as well, and it shows you again how to make alterations. And then, you know, obviously you have to unstitch the garment once you've got your alterations done and sew the right sides together. Also, it's got tips all the way through the pattern. Tips on knits, tips on your stitches, you know, your length, your needle you use, different knits. It really is involved. So I think this pattern was quite pricey actually. But I can see why, because it is full of information. So I will say that for the pattern, it was really, really good instruction. Now the actual pattern itself, this is basically a pleated top. Now these 2 fronts are cut out separately, okay. They're cut out separately and then they are sewn together. They come together at the front and then you sew this piece on here. But the problem for me is that these are cut double. Okay. So you've got 2 pieces of fabric there. So if you are rather big busted, this can make them look a lot bigger. Plus, you've got these pleats. Now, some people had actually left a pleat out. I didn't. I put all the pleats in. But what the big thing was this insert. So let me just reveal the insert. I'm going to, pull around and you can see in a little bit more detail this insert. So basically it's 2 pieces, they cross over, you sew them to here. When you sew the bottom bit to the pleats here, you sew the dicky in as well. So like I say, it's just this, and it's a bit strange really. I mean, some of these youngsters they go out in one of these, won't they, just alone? Oh dear. The problem as well, a lot of people said, was when they sewed this bit, because it sews here, it attaches at the bottom and at the shoulders, they found that it was sometimes a little bit short, the dicky was, so it was tending to pull the shoulder down. So yeah, this is the problem. If I show you on a piece of jersey, so you've got double jersey, yeah, and then you've got your pleat. So you've got, in essence here, 2, 4, 6 layers. Yeah, 6 layers. And then you've got the dicky as well, and that's an insert. So that's another 2 layers on top. So that's 8. and then you've got the bottom of the piece here, so that's 9 layers to actually sew through. So a Ponte or a stretch velvet are a no-no. You know, you're not going to get all that fabric through your machine. You know, you'd struggle with your presser foot, I think. So yeah, I'm sorry if my voice went a bit quiet then, because my mic's there and I forgot, and I'm over there talking away. So like I say, you've got a pleated upper yoke, you've got the floating crossover. Some people didn't like the transition from, because you've got 4 layers here, they didn't like the transition where you sewed it to the shoulder. Now I did the first one wrong, I've got the second one on which I've done correctly, but basically this crossover bit here finishes there, and it just has enough for you to turn under the back piece. So the back piece is just a single piece of jersey, and then it's hemmed under. So that's what a lot of people didn't like, the transition from all this thickness to then going to just a narrow hem on the back piece of the garment. Like I say, a lot of people didn't like the insert, how it was pulling everything forward, because some of people found it short. I didn't like all the bulk, because you've got a very bulky seam here. I mean, there's only so much you can grade out. Some people, what they did is they didn't have the insert in, and they wore a camisole, which I think is probably a better thing to do. I perhaps would bring these in a little bit more and then have the camisole. Now what I did, I made a mistake. I have put on some lockdown weight, and I thought, well, I'll make the size 24, because when I read the instruction it was saying for a bust of 46, and sort of the waist and the hips, I mean the waist was 39, I think yeah, I'll do that size. And to be honest, it was quite big on me. I looked like I expected the Ghostbusters to come busting through the door, because I looked like Mr. Marshmallow. It was just very billowy and white. One thing, I don't suit white really. Cream or ivory is more my colour, because I'm an autumn colouring. But I do like to wear white now and again, and I just fancied a white top, you know, a white t-shirt, but it was just too much. And I think when you're big as well, I do think more fitted, it does suit you, you know. You tend to want to hide under layers, but no, sometimes it's a little bit better to have fitted. So it was just a no-go really for me. So I thought, you know, you've got to have a slinky type of jersey for this pattern, or a very thin jersey. Maybe this would have worked as well, because this is quite a thin jersey. Well, I'd gotten my stash, and I made a long cardigan of this, and this fabric, and I purchased this from Minerva quite a long time ago. And I thought, you know, I'm going to have another go of making this top. So I made it 2 sizes lower than this one. I made a size 20. And then I did read, it did say you to use your high bust measurement. It was a 42, my high bust is. So that is the correct size for me. In a little bit more detail. Yeah, the shoulders are, the shoulder is just reaching the bone there, the seam is, so that's correct. Yeah, it's quite nicely fitted, shame about the tongue, but we can't be perfect. Yeah, I'm quite pleased. I'm going to put some footage of me out in the garden wearing this. I'm going to sew it up here a bit more just for my modesty, and that's just me. What I'm going to show you is how stretchy, you know when I'm on about a slinky fabric, that's what I mean, it's thin. See? So you can tell the way I'm pulling it that it's a thin fabric. And that's what you need really for this top. You don't need all that extra bulk. Well, certainly I don't. So that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye.